in-depth look at some of the stories and put them on the radar and, of course, analyze some of these trending national headlines as of concern to many Nigerians. My name is Adeyemi.
And I'm Danielle Shitta-Bey. Thank you for joining us.
And we have Nicholas Nwaronoye in the house this morning. Good morning to you, Nicholas.
Good morning.
All right, let's officially begin. And the states that some views to be expressed on the program is not in any way the position of Flow FM 92.7 or any of the staff therein, but solely as expressed by the analyst Nicholas Nwaronoye or as expressed by a caller this morning. Let's get right into our conversation. Don't forget, you can join us at any point of the program to pass your comments or react to any of the stories on 0807 777 9927. 0807 777 9927.
All right. Also, we're streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube, and it's on YouTube at Flow FM 927 and on Facebook at Flow FM NG. You can get on any of these apps, and you can get in on the live action happening in the studio right now. Let's get into the conversation with this really big and interesting story. Well, the 2025 budget includes, State House a budget of 15 billion naira for SUVs, tires, and office complexes. With it distributed with 164 million for tires for various vehicles, 1.1 billion naira for replacing SUVs, 3.66 billion naira for personal vehicles, 127.86 million for the president and vice president's SUVs. It's just distributed among most vehicles, SUVs, and operational vehicles. Now, this allocation for 15 billion naira for SUVs and office complex and all of these things, how does it impact public perception of government's priorities?
Well, we did say that over the week we are going to be seeing details of the budget, and all the specifics will be coming out, and this is a demonstration of what I said earlier. Was it yesterday we were talking about the budget?
Yeah.
But yeah. So you see, the first question that came to my mind is I don't know. It's are they at war for bulletproof, budgeting that kind of money for a bulletproof SUV, and considering the fact that the presidential fleet is not short of very good serviceable vehicles, with security, features,
at the
embedded. At the moment, it has always been. You see, year in, year out, we see things like this, happening, and it raises that question. It goes back to that campaign that have been said over time that there is a need to cut down spending. There is a need for the federal government to show that, that walk its talk about managing resources frugally, for the benefits of 15 billion naira. Do you know what it can do? We are talking of a lot of facilities that could service the police force, arm them with small arms and even large arms too, heavier ordinances that they could use to secure the internal, secure the country internally. Then put in 15 billion into the military hardware. Do you know how many of the rockets, all those rockets that are fired as sorties that I could procure for the Naval Air Force, So, how many boreholes in terms of, water reticulation? Just put that into water reticulation in the country, and you are going to have a significant improvement in water supply, across rural areas. So, these are some of the things that, it's a sad reminder that on the one hand, our leaders preach something, and on the other, you don't see a practical demonstration of what they preach. And this is quite sad, really. It's sad. I don't want to... it's not as if we shouldn't service the presidency. But you see, there has always been this argument that the presidency is... that is, the presidential system of government as we practice is way too expensive for us. And a lot of people it's one of those reasons why they advocate for the parliamentary, parliamentary or cabinet system of government, where you have a prime minister. It cuts down costs drastically. And honestly, a lot of people are still going to talk along that line, that maybe we should consider the kind of presidency we are talking, the kind of presidential system we are practicing, whether we are really equipped to handle it.
Well, from another angle, people might still say, well, the presidency is the presidency, and then some people might want to give reasons why they deserve what they're marking for, in the budgets. Any justification?
No, I would like to know the reasons why, because you see, even the White House, Dawn Street, I'm talking of countries who are far, far richer than Nigeria, their meal, the meal for the prime minister, it only caters for 4. Any extra guest, the prime minister pays for it. Same thing with the White House. There is it is so watertight that you don't spend outside this without accounting to Americans. That's what we are saying. You must be able to justify this. And the unfortunate thing is they take it to the National Assembly and they wave it off and, they just rubber stamp it, rub it in our faces, especially where you have situations where people are in dire need of the basic essentials of life. It is insensitive. That is the point. We are not saying that, if we have that kind of money, if, provisions are made for social amenities, largely to the benefit and satisfaction of Nigerians, nobody will quarrel. Even if you want to have 100 SUVs, nobody will quarrel. But we are talking of a situation where people don't have even the basic essentials. Maybe along the line, we are still going to talk about some other issues that led to the killing of, about 35, people, in Ibadan. That is the kind of situation we are having. In the last couple of days, we've been talking about possibility of a bleak Christmas. You understand? We are talking of, we are discussing whether Dangote or we reduce the refinery. Okay, what if that money, 15 billion, is put into reduction of fuel prices during the Yuletide period? Will it not make some differences? So those are some of the things we are talking about. It's insensitive, honestly, if you ask me.
All right, let's move on to another story this morning. If that is catching your attention, please do give us a call on 0807 777 9927. And the 2025 appropriation bill, the State House reportedly budget 15 billion for SUVs, tires, and office complex. Let me just ask you real quick before we go, because somebody's gonna concerned Nigeria probably want to ask this question, but may not be able to speak out. These SUVs, they are existing SUVs that they are using already.
Exactly.
So what happens to the old ones? Do they sell them off, or what happens to them?
These are part of, at the end of the day, I think a thorough analysis hasn't been done on that. We need to look at the ordinances, car ordinances you have. A thorough audit has never been openly made on these fleets of cars, the things you buy in year and year out. You understand? Nobody knows anything. When President Muhammadu Buhari came on board, he said he was going to put about 10 fleets within the presidential fleet. He's going to put it on sale. Till he left 8 years after, nothing was out of it. He said, okay, we are talking of floating Nigerian Air. Those 10 fleets of cars, put it in Nigerian Air. We know exactly how many jobs it's going to create, in the aviation sector. We'll talk of national pride. We're talking of more revenues coming into the country, but nothing like that was done. Rather, we had the fiasco of Nigerian Air, the scandal of it all, and one of the ministers is, he's been tried currently. He's been investigated, recently. So these are some of the things we are talking about. You hardly hear anything. So what happened to the old ones there? How did you service? And I know if you go back to the 2024 budget, you see provisions made for some of these, car ordinances within the presidency. So that to the current question happens to be they take advantage of like I said, financial illiteracy that is really haunting most Nigerians. We are not particular about financial figures, and I think it's high time even we are to blame. Nigerians are to blame because we don't ask these questions. We don't ask, forensic. We don't forensically investigate some of these things because it's our money. So that is one of the problem, So it's not enough to just say the president did this, the president did that, the National Assembly did. What of the people being governed? How well have we engaged them? Asking for thorough explanation as to how you spend this money and what happened to the previous ones you've spent.
All right. Earlier you mentioned, what would happen if we put some of this money that is budgeted for this very expensive SUVs into slashing price of petrol. That would help Nigerians, especially in this Yuletide season. And Dangote actually slashed a little bit of it off to 899 naira, 50 kobo, for petrol in this Yuletide season. We don't know if it's going to change after the Yuletide season.
We don't.
There's that as well. And then now Petron is also urging NNPC to emulate Dangote Refinery because they haven't slashed their price.
Well, you see, let me first say that, we have said it consistently. Now, we have never seen this kind of competitiveness happen in the downstream sector. That is the positivity that comes from when you allow market forces to determine, the cost of price rather than the regulation that we used to have in the previous instances. Now, more than likely, I keep on saying this, tired expression, ceteris paribus, all things being equal. The normal is that we should see a further deterioration in prices of petroleum, pump price of petroleum. That is, it has to go down. That is the normal thing you should expect in a market economy. As more pressure is brought to bear on NNPC will find a way of trying to reduce its price even further so that it can compete favorably with Dangote. Then of course Dangote will see how he can counter such moves too. So at the end of the day, the end user benefits. So more than likely, Petron making that call, it's in order to you can they are pressure groups. They are they are stakeholders within that industry. So they made that call. So it's another way of just telling the NNPC that, look, more than likely our members will patronize Dangote more than you. It's another way of telling them that we have an option. So see what you can do so that Nigerians can benefit from it. So I think it's a welcome development, very, very positive for our economy.
But like I said earlier, is there a possibility for it to stay even after the Yuletide season? Although even the difference in the slashing is not a lot. It's from 970 naira to like 899.50. So it's like,
don't forget it was at some point 1,000 something. So it's really coming down.
Okay.
You understand? So let us just take the plus for now and hope for the best as the new year comes knocking around.
All right, let me take us back a little bit. The House of Representatives is set to donate 704.91 million naira year salary to President Tinubu for vulnerable Nigerians.
Donated it to President.
They had to donate it, and it's going to be donated on the 31st of December. 2024.
Yeah, I recall the speaker saying that they are coming to visit him in Lagos. Well, the presidency has now become a place where money can be generated to. So he has the parameter. That is, he has the machinery to donate money. They feel the president is in a better position to donate money to Nigerians. I mean, what kind of joke are they playing on Nigerians? You mean that they collectively don't have constituency where they can pull that money and through their constituency they know that money? Is this some kind of end of the year joke they are playing? I don't understand. I mean, sometimes I don't know. The Nigerian politicians, I don't know, what really happens, what kind of water they drink when they get to the National Assembly. You understand? You come up with this kind of theatrics. That kind of that makes a mockery of what Nigerians are going through all year round, taking that humongous amount of money and giving it to the presidency that we are saying is trying to buy 15 billion, spend 15 on just the tires and SUVs. I mean, is there anything that they can be more?
It says to support vulnerable Nigerians.
So they have vulnerable Nigerians in their local constituencies? I don't know, because okay, let us bring it local. I said, I keep on making references to a place I visited in Kwara State here. Foko. I keep on saying it often and often. The only government presence that has happened is the governor that rebuilt the primary school. The secondary school in that Foko is built by indigenes from across the world, contributing money. That's the only viable secondary school in that place. And we are equally talking about, a federal government road that was abandoned since 1976. There is that likelihood that this from Badagry to Sokoto is going to cut through that road. That is the only thing. So I see that the place is dying. There is a lot of, in fact, the maternity and health care is abandoned, long abandoned. I still have the photographs. I took photographs of all those facilities. So the House of Rep member under whose force that is that is overseas, that is responsible for that thing. Is he not aware that there are people who need that money, that contribution? Is that what he's trying to tell me? That a Tinumbu that lives in Bodilion will now have to come from there to Foko. You know, I'm just trying to paint the ludicrousness of that action. I don't know. You know, something really happens.
You find that very insulting to Nigerians.
Not only insulting. I don't know. I don't. For short of better words, I don't really. I think it's a joke.
Do you also think this is done in good faith, or is just something to just okay, Nigerians? So we've listened to your call. We are reducing our salaries.
And you took the money to the presidency. Look, you know the good thing about Nigeria, being a Nigerian, is that you know at some point they said we are the happiest people in Nigeria, in the world. You know, we are rated as one of the happiest people.
We're part of it.
We are part of
Philippines are.
Okay, people is ahead now. Yeah, but I think the pain is getting to us. That's why Philippines took over.
Right.
I mean, this is sad. I mean, we tend to make jokes of some of these things, and that is the good thing about each time I come here, get to talk, you can talk, get to vent. That is one good thing about Nigeria, because for the life of me, I can't even imagine that a bunch of adults can get together and put across that kind of silliness. I don't know. I'm so sorry if I have to use that. For me, it doesn't make sense at all. It doesn't. It doesn't show responsibility. It doesn't even show that they are in touch with what is happening in their constituency. I mean, let the presidency do that. After all, there is supposed to be 3 arms of government independent of each other. So you are now pulling resources and taking it to the executive. So what we have is a KBC syndrome that is happening over there. That is, you have a king, you have to pull resources and go to the king. KBC, help us take care of our people that you are going to go back to. This is the Yuletide season. They are going to come back home. You understand? So if those money separately, were given to them and they use it to buy ordinary rice and come back and give it to people for the Yuletide season.
Okay, don't you also think that this money, 704 million naira, can do a whole lot as well too on the positive side?
It can.
In addition to that as well, there's a story where the federal government has slashed the state transport fares by 50%. So if you're traveling for the Yuletide season, if it's let's say 20,000 to take you to where you're supposed to go to, it will be 10,000.
What is the model? The idea is good. A lot of Nigerians are going to be traveling. You understand? Yeah, that's very good. That's quite commendable. How are they going to distribute the money? Are they going to give it to NURTW?
Of course, it's not going to be distributed to citizens. It's definitely going to go to associations.
Okay, good. And we need a feedback mechanism to show that money actually got there and how they spend that money. And
then again, the concern is, will it be effective again? Will Nigerians feel the impact? Because if you go, I'm reading. I have a report here that to get to the southeast is running. To fly to the southeast is huge.
Yeah, it is.
It's huge. It's huge,
massive.
And then to take a bus, to the east or the south.
I was there.
South. Even to the north is running into like 60,000 naira to go to a state like Akwa Ibom, for example.
Wow,
you need 60,000 naira to travel there. Now, with these slash of 50%, for Nigerians, will it be effective at all? Like, will Nigerians feel it? And how is this going to be implemented?
Oh, well, you said, is it 20,000 out of? Is it 20,000? How much are they? How much was the figure? Well, how much is even the figure?
50% off.
50% off the transport fare.
Well, yeah, it is. It will go. It will go maybe about 50%. Reduction of the cost of the cost of transport. But effectively, I wonder how many Nigerians are going to travel with the insecurity that you have all over the places. I'm not saying that gesture is not good enough. No, it is. At least it shows that they are still connected to the sufferings of Nigerians. Yes, fine. But again, I'm looking at the whole picture. You understand? For me, I think that rather than making all this dash, a more fundamental policy, a more fundamental move should have been made to make the price generally come down on its own. That's my point. You understand? Making the roads secure, removing a lot of roadblocks, because those are the things that makes it expensive, especially for the southeast. When the moment you get to Ore, you can count almost 100, and there was a figure that came out recently putting the number of that is the amount of bribe collected on that axis alone, that route alone to the east, at 1 trillion naira. Yes, on monthly basis. You understand? So the 1 trillion naira and 50,000 naira, what difference does it make? It doesn't make any difference now. You understand? That roadblock is what is causing the problem. That is why it's so expensive. It's not even the fueling alone. Roadblocks and the insecurity on the way put that money there. Okay, for all the police that are going to be okay, we want to keep you people there. Instead of collecting bribe for these people, we have given you allowances. That is okay. And they are going to spend far less than what they are going to spend on that. Just say, okay, look, we are putting you on this so that, and we are going to be sending monitoring, we are going to submit the monitoring team routinely. We are going to embed DSS officers in some of these vehicles, so that if you are caught this thing, the next thing is you are dismissed and you are arraigned and you go to jail. Let them do that, and you will see the prices, the cost of transport will drop over 50%.
It's like uprooting the problem from the
exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Just before we go, it's this next story is a big one, and this is very, very a sad one,
very sad,
and very, very touching. And that's the Ibadan, fair tragedy.
Yeah, I was wondering when that is going to come.
Where the president has also ordered, probe into what really, really happened, is stampede. My simple question is, how can things like this be avoided? That's just the question. And how seriously do we take safety precautions?
Especially when it comes to dealing with children like this.
Whatever we say here, whatever I say here, is going to be so trite and hackneyed. That is so stereotypical, so ordinary, mundane, because we've been saying it over and over again. I have been, in the last couple of days that I've had that story, I have been rendered insensate. I don't know, something abnormal is happening to me. 35 children, and perhaps still counting.
Still counting, yes.
In one fell swoop. There is no war. There is no pestilence. There is no epidemic. Just because of one act of carelessness. And we have all this. The presidency's, asking for a probe, for me, is just is tokenism. It's just playing to the gallery, because it is all over the places. And this is not to put the blame squarely on government. No. I think everybody is involved. Everybody. Now, you see, this is about Christmas, right? It tells you, number one, on the religious level, value system, the crass mercantilism that Christmas celebration has become. You understand? A situation where it's about positioning, it's about commercialization, is that the very essence of Christmas? I grew up, the larger part of my life, I spent it, worshiping with a group that doesn't believe in all this Christmas thing. But, in my latter years, I have come to this realization that whatever anybody chooses to believe, that is his choice. I don't do condemnation. Whatever choice of religion you want to belong to, I don't do that. But again, I rather urge that we look at the spirit behind whatever article of faith we want to practice. We are talking of, a personality that was born humbly in a manger where animals sleeps. That tells you the mission the mission he came into the world to do. He was born in a manger. It was the humblest of humble. They didn't go out proclaiming. In fact, it was even the supernatural, so to say, that even proclaimed his birth. Do you understand? That is the kind of man, Christmas is meant to celebrate. But over the years, thousands of years after, what has it now become? It has become an industry for showiness. And that is the number one responsibility. That is the number one problem. Government key into it to buy goodwill. Advertisers, publicists, event managers, they key into it to make a kill. Then, of course, for those who say it's for charity too, it is equally positioning. You understand? So the very lessons of it, that it should be about the common man, is lost. And that is where the real tragedy lies. Having said that too, I think parents too take a huge chunk of the blame. What kind of, my child must be seen to be there. Not minding whether you are putting them, they are doing something in Susu Park and Susu Park. Have you taken time to look at how safe that place is for your child? The spirit of the festivity moves you there. What if anything happens? How do you come back home? How do you I wonder what will be going through the minds of those parents right now. In Ilorin, let me even tell you, in Ilorin, there is a small park. I'm not going to mention the name of any, when I saw them building this big wheel, this big wheel that you saw, that has seats that goes round. I am not an engineer, but you see the human faculty, the human senses is so equipped to see potential dangers, only that we ignore it. I saw it and I made up my mind that my kids will never go there. Because the wheel happens to overlap the fencing into a main road, into a road. Something was telling me that something was wrong with the engineering, and it so happened, I got to talk to somebody who is close to the owner of that place, and he admitted that the specifics given to the engineer wasn't what was produced. Now I'm going to be watching carefully. I'm going to be watching carefully whether that thing will be put into operation this Unitard period. All
right. Well, whatever it is that we do, we should be very, very careful. Safety should be the first thing that should be on our minds this period. Yeah. Either on the roads or domestically, we should be. Nicholas, thank you for coming this morning.
Thank you so much.
The views expressed is not in any way the position of Flow FM 92.7, but solely expressed by Nicholas Waranoye. And that's it for this week. We're back on Monday. Good morning to you.
Gbogbo èèyàn ló lẹ́tọ̀ọ́ sóúnjẹ òwúrọ̀ tó dáa. Wọ́n lẹ́tọ̀ọ́ sí gbogbo